As Ripple looks into a possible relationship with BlackRock, XRP continues to be the talk of the crypto world. According to news sources, the chances of an XRP ETF or exchange-traded fund have gone through the roof and are now 87%. This could be the start of a big change for XRP and the cryptocurrency market as a whole. But let's look at what each part means. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) will be the center of attention on Thursday, March 27th. Investors are eagerly waiting for the SEC to officially drop its appeal of the ruling on programmatic sales of XRP. If this happens, it would be a huge step forward for XRP and could make it possible for an XRP spot ETF to be launched. The market is buzzing with anticipation because people know what this choice could mean for XRP and other cryptocurrencies as well. No matter how excited people are about the SEC's upcoming statement, XRP has not yet returned to its January high of $3.3999. Still, the possibility of a US XRP spot ETF could greatly change how supply and demand work in this cryptocurrency. If Ripple's plans to grow in the US take off, there could be a lot of demand for XRP from institutions, which could lead to new price highs. The head of the ETF store spoke out and said that approval for the spot XRP ETF seems to be on the horizon. He said that big names like BlackRock and Fidelity are involved in the ETF space, which means they probably won't miss XRP, especially since it's now the third biggest non-stablecoin cryptocurrency by market cap. Also, the expected approval of the XRP spot ETF is very important for XRP's market situation. By making an investment vehicle that is more stable, it could bring in more institutional buyers. As a result, the price of XRP will go up as demand for it grows. As the cryptocurrency market changes, Ripple's strategy and the SEC's choices will have a big impact on where XRP goes in the future. With a BlackRock deal possible and an ETF approval becoming more likely, it looks like the way people think about XRP is about to change in a big way. Investors are still hoping that these events will improve XRP's standing, which is a good sign for the future. Recently, Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, made a suggestion that the company might work with BlackRock to create an XRP spot ETF based in the United States. If this move happens, it could have a huge effect on how supply and demand work in the market. Since January 2024, when a BTC spot ETF was released, BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust has seen net inflows of nearly $39.8 billion, which is a record. Unbelievable as it may seem, the BTC spot ETF market would have lost over $3.6 billion if BlackRock hadn't had any impact on it. BlackRock's ETF created demand that helped restore balance between supply and demand in Bitcoin, which led to its amazing rise to a record high of $109,312. As the buzz about a possible US XRP spot ETF grows, players in the industry are paying attention. Chris Marsalek, CEO of Crypto.com, said that he thinks XRP ETFs could bring in about $8 billion by 2026. A crypto betting site called Polymarket also said that the chances of an XRP spot ETF being approved by December 2025 have reached an all-time high of 87%. It's up from 57% at the beginning of the year. When we looked at the most recent price changes, we saw that XRP fell 4.11% on March 26th, after only gaining 0.01% the day before. It ended the day at a price of $2.3513. With a total market cap of $2.79 trillion, the crypto market as a whole fell by 1.06%, which was part of a larger trend. XRP's price is being affected by a number of important things. Pressures from outside and the mood of the market always have an effect on its success. More research can be done to learn more about what experts think might cause XRP to reach new highs. This can give investors interesting new views. Even though XRP was going up and down, Bitcoin also had its problems. The drop in XRP prices happened at the same time as a drop in Bitcoin prices, which was mostly caused by news about politics. President Trump put a 25% tax on cars made in other countries, which made people worry about a global trade war again. This made the Nasdaq Composite Index drop by 2.04%. The news also had an effect on the US BTC spot ETF market as a whole. Farsight Investors analysts said that the market's impressive 8-day streak of new money coming in is now at risk. If money comes into the iShares Bitcoin Trust and stays below $18.3 million or even goes down, that streak could end. Fortunately, even though the market was feeling cautious, US BTC spot ETFs were able to avoid big withdrawals. The discussions about the planned Bitcoin Act, which was brought up again by Senator Cynthia Lummis on March 11th, gave people a new sense of hope. The U.S. government could buy 1 million Bitcoin over 5 years with the goal of hanging on to them for 20 years. This could have huge effects on the long-term supply and demand balance of Bitcoin. When we look ahead, we can see that both XRP and BTC have a bright future ahead of them. Changes in regulatory frameworks and how the market reacts to them will have a big impact on how people trade in cryptocurrencies. Stay tuned, because we'll be keeping an eye on these interesting changes and letting you know what they might mean for buyers in the constantly changing digital world. Bitcoin fell by 0.54% on March 26th, ending the day at $86,943, and undoing the small gain of the previous day. The cryptocurrency market is still very complicated, and investors' feelings are being affected by a number of macroeconomic and governmental issues. Recent moves by the SEC, which have given investors some short-term relief, will be important market drivers. But for long-term trust, there needs to be a regulatory system that is consistent and clear. People who are investing are told to keep up with the latest news as it happens. Now let's talk about some news and research that could have an effect on the markets. The prices of gold and silver went up because of changes in tariffs and dovish messages from the Federal Reserve. Reports on natural gas and oil prices also say that higher car tariffs may increase the need for crude oil in the near future. When it comes to stock markets, the Hang Seng Index and the Nikkei 225 are showing different trends because of U.S. tech bans and tariffs. In reaction to changes in policy, these changes show how connected global markets are. Exciting news about cryptocurrencies. Ripple is looking at a possible deal with BlackRock, and the odds for an XRP ETF have risen to an amazing 87%. Still, Bitcoin's latest drop is a good reminder of how volatile the crypto space is. As we continue to look into these events, keep an eye on how the market reacts. You need to change how you invest in both standard and digital assets because of each change. Thanks for visiting us as we look at the exciting world of finance today.